Okay. So last question, Vlad. So Starbucks, the king of coffee, the American king of coffee. Yeah. Go ahead, enjoy your Starbucks. The American king of coffee, you could argue the global king of coffee. They've had a bit of a rough patch recently from an earnings perspective, from a revenue perspective. Is your beloved coffee company going to lose its status as the king of coffee? What's your take?
Cool. I'd love to talk about this. Yeah, as you mentioned, I love them. Like for me, I don't know, since my teenage time, I was imagining, myself going to the office, taking the cup of Starbucks coffee, like wearing the suit, and like for me, like to me, it was like the symbol of me growing up, being like successful person and so on. Like it's just the symbol. Yes, you're right. What we've seen over the recent several quarters, they reported as like stable decline in their sales, stable decline in the economy. That's why they appointed a new CEO, like with a record compensation package of $113 million. He got like just $10 million as a signing bonus. Like I wish we could get it. Like incredible. However, he's also famous for like being super successful in turning things around in the chain. I don't think that they will lose the status of the king of coffee, whatever, because if we look at the coffee industry globally, have you heard of 3 waves of coffee?
No.
Okay, so...
What is that? Americano, cappuccino, and frappuccino?
Think bigger. Don't be so narrow-minded. So...
You were going to make an American joke, weren't you?
In 19th century... like where the coffee culture appeared, it was the first wave of coffee. They started as like coffee shops at the, like famous Grand Cafes, European places where you could see Sigmund Freud drinking coffee with water, like Austrian style. Then with the modernization and industrial economy, they introduced the instant coffee, something you could get from the jar and like make it at home. So they made it super affordable for everyone. That was the first wave of coffee. Then, in 1970s, 1980s, we got this, which is the second wave of coffee. A lot of coffee shops, coffee chains, coffee to go. This is where it appeared. Now, we observe so-called third wave of coffee, which is a specialty coffee, where you get the V60, Colombia, Brazil, Ethiopian beans raised like here and there, where actually consumers, they understand that coffee as a product, as a bean, is very rich and can be very different. This in the same way as wine. So they understand that coffee can be consumed, can be considered, can be understood completely differently, the same way as wine can be. Like it can be acidic and it can be sweetened, it can be with chocolatey notes, fruity notes, hazelnut, whatever, nutty notes, and like you can feel this. So now we have the wave of the specialty coffee. Where I'm leading to this. With this,
I was going to say you really like coffee.
I do, and I'm trying to be even like more into this. And if we look at Starbucks, they've been like huge success since late 80s. They have like 35,000 locations. They even introduced their own like latte index, the same way we have as a Big Mac index, like costs of Starbucks tall latte in different cities, which illustrates the economy of these different cities. Like they're super successful, widespread, or worldwide phenomenon. But then, when this third wave appeared, Starbucks lost its identity. They started they overcomplicated things. They the menu became massive. The quality of coffee has been going down, especially when you got the specialty coffees claiming that we know the taste of coffee. Starbucks is like over roasted black stuff, like don't drink it, like it's for those who don't understand coffee and so on. Then Starbucks tried to introduce this in their coffee shops, making Starbucks Reserve, making the V60 coffee and all this stuff. So they lost their identity. It's pretty much the same thing that happened with Apple before Steve Jobs came back. You had a huge variety of products and you're completely losing your identity. So what the new CEO, Brian Niccol, what he wants to make, he wants to introduce, he introduced a new strategy saying we will cut off this, we will limit the line of products, and we will make sure that every transaction is 4 minutes or less. Now, on average, they spend 2.5 minutes to make a cup of coffee. Then you plus you add the line, you add the your name, you add your transaction to make the check and all of this. Now it's getting more than 4 minutes. He wants to make it shorter. So everything about the efficiency and everything about like to make the coffee closer to the consumer, to make it easier for the consumer to get it. So I think they will definitely get there. And since they still continue their expansion, China, like even though there are some closures in China, but still China is the like, second largest market for them. India is growing market for them. Middle East is very growing, rapidly growing market for them. And they even managed to go to Italy, where like Italy was very protective with their own coffee culture. So they opened the first spot in Milan in 2018 and the second in Rome last year. So now they're entering there. So I think like they will reinvent themselves. They will increase the efficiency. I think we will see much shorter menu in Starbucks. And yeah, we'll see. I think they will remain, I don't know, king of coffee or not, but like the dominant coffee chain in the world, of course.
This reminds me of the Lincoln Park discussion we had in our first episode. I think Starbucks is screwed. I think they're screwed. I'm not going to lie. I don't like Starbucks. I hate Starbucks. That's why I purposefully got this, Balade coffee here instead to not drink Starbucks. Couple of reasons for that. Let me just have a sip of my not Starbucks coffee first. Couple of things. It's overpriced. It's overpriced coffee. So why am I paying a premium for something that at the end of the day is pretty simple? Coffee, right? The bean is the same, right? You can have different beans, Ethiopian beans, Brazilian beans, however many different beans you mentioned. Fine. It's still coffee. You want to get into all this specialty coffee? Fine, you can if you want, but anybody can do that. There's nothing unique about the product. There's nothing unique about Starbucks. It's just overpriced. And again, it's got a nice feel to it. The brand is all right, but who wants to spend all that additional money for something that, again, anybody can make? I don't find anything. I'm okay with it. Yeah, you're okay with it. I know. You have some fascination with the brand. That's fine. Again, Dunkin' Donuts is cheaper. You can buy your own coffee beans. There's 1,000 different options when it comes to coffee to doing it more cheaply. Again, if the economy is under pressure and we have inflation, which is higher than average, if we're looking at GDPs that are in decline, who the hell wants to spend money on coffee and pay 30% more? It just doesn't make any sense logically, in my opinion, okay? That's one thing. Again, Starbucks, I don't think is all that brilliant of a company either. There's huge geopolitical risk. So they want to expand into China. Well, that's risky, right? So if you're looking at continued conflict, continued geopolitical risk, continued trade conflict between the Chinese and the Americans, why are you going to be betting so big on China? How much money you need to pour into China to open up stores, to do this, to do that? How quickly before a Chinese company is just going to come up and overtake you? It already has happened, actually. I don't know if you read this, but as of this year, a company called Luckin, a Chinese company, is now the largest coffee chain in China. Of course it is. And the Chinese government, I'm sure, is going to support that because then that money gets to stay at home in China. Starbucks just invested $200 million in a new campus in China, which is a production and distribution center, the largest ever that a coffee company of any kind has built outside the US. So Starbucks is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on China in an era when the Chinese economy is faltering, American-Chinese relations are continuing to sour, not getting any better. No, I think this is a terrible move. So yeah, again, I literally pulled this quote from their 10K report from earlier this year. Again, they've been reporting this for years. Due to the significance of our China market. For our profit and growth, we are exposed to risks in China, being a particular risk to Starbucks as a company. So I think that risk is only going to get worse. I think that risk is going to metastasize and be a problem for them. And again, even in the home markets, in the American market, who wants to spend all this additional money in an era of higher inflation, in an era of greater economic uncertainty? No, I think Starbucks is not in a good position. I'm not saying they're going to go bankrupt or anything like that. They do have a ton of debt, but no, I don't like the outlook for Starbucks. I think its stock price is overvalued. I think as a company in general, I think it's overextending itself. So no, I don't think Starbucks will be the king of coffee. No, I think Starbucks is in trouble. So
they have already established the market in China. I think consumer market has nothing to do with the geopolitics. Like the coffee, where you have your geopolitical tensions, where you have the coffee, like it's nowhere near.
No, of course.
It's not even the technology, not even the consumer technology. It's like it's very far from all these tensions.
What did the Chinese government do with Apple, for example? So
Apple is the technology.
Okay, I mean, but what's to say there's not a marketing campaign within China to say Be patriotic, buy Chinese, don't buy Starbucks.
Okay,
Very simple.
they have enough people for everyone. In here, by the way, in here in Dubai where both of us live, what is the average price of a cup of cappuccino, for example?
I don't know. I don't shop at Starbucks.
It's not about Starbucks. Like overall, like when you buy
20 dirhams. So what's that?
20,
$5.
20 dirhams. 20 dirhams.
Yeah.
Starbucks costs 16 dirhams. Overpriced coffee, which is cheaper than average.
Well, I don't buy cappuccinos either, so I could be wrong. But okay, if you say so.
I mean, I know they claim to be overpriced, and if you compare them with Dunkin' Donuts in America, they're like twice of the price. But again, like Dunkin' Donuts is impossible to drink. Anyway, and actually, like they created all these coffee shop culture with the cups, and everybody just took their model.
Have you been to Costa Coffee?
Yeah,
Exact same.
no, it's impossible. It's
same.
impossible to drink, and it costs more.
It's impossible to drink.
It's
Jeez.
impossible to drink, and it's more expensive.
This is like a very what's it called? A very arrogant palate. Oh, I can't drink that. It's the same. It's the same.
Actually, again, 16 dirhams for a cappuccino in Starbucks versus 19 in Costa Coffee.
Okay, so under that logic, Starbucks will remain the king of coffee. We'll see. Like I said, I don't think so. I think there's a ton of risks there.
And also, I think their franchise model is pretty interesting. Because I haven't heard honestly about this like campus in China that they invested, but in many countries where they go in, they just sell the franchise. So it's not like the huge investment in the infrastructure and whatever. They just like spread.
Well, they just put 200 million. They just put 200
that was
million.
interesting. That I didn't know. But I think I don't think they're a huge geopolitical risk for Starbucks. We will see. And I think like the appointment of the new CEO. Like, have you seen what happened with the stock price when it was appointed?
Yeah,
like that. I think like that's a huge impact. It's very interesting.
That's the market getting excited for no reason, as the market tends to. The market is always. What does Warren Buffett say? The market is a voting machine, but in the short term it's a voting machine. In the long run, it's a weighing machine.
Is a herd.
Yeah. So investors got all excited. Oh, look, this one guy is going to save Starbucks. The stock price goes up 25-30%. Give me a break. I'm not seeing anything in the numbers. I don't think. Again, outlook to me doesn't look good. You can have your CEO. You could pay him double, triple, whatever you want to do. I'm not buying it. Just like Lincoln Park is not coming back. Although that one I'm looking not so strong on. No, Starbucks I think is in trouble. I don't think those troubles are going away.
We'll see. I
think they'll get worse.
I'm sure they will reinvent. I'm sure they will split their coffee shops into two parts. So we will have like the third wave coffee shops, and they will have this like continue. We will see this model continue. I'm sure.
We'll keep trying to single-handedly keep Starbucks afloat. But
me and several hundred million consumers.
It might be over a billion, but we'll see.